You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight, and the crowd burst into laughter. That tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing is in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other.
Sorry, but she's only a star with leftists. And the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is. It's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer and also
CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, you know, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on another night. I think lawmakers from both parties should take questions, and you should push both of them. But on CNN being a place of credibility, I mean, look at what just happened in Chicago. We had 300 people from CNN on the ground covering that
language about migrants, invasion, etc. He also started going off about what he called the Biden indictment trials, which I'm sure we're going to hear more of that language, calling them election interference. And then he said, look, there's a lot of people, there's polling showing that you all thought that the 2020 election was trouble as well. So it's like he's still leaning into that, and he is encouraged by the portion of the electorate in Iowa that agrees with him.
So because he forgets to pick up his laptop, this guy now owns it and sells it to Fox News,
this guy
who then can take the pictures of his dick, disseminate it to everybody in the media who can then hold it up in Congress. Is there a legal mind here who can explain that to me? Because I never got that part.
Yeah, don't do crack.
A lot of issues that the Justice Department has looked into, including, of course, this laptop that on the right wing has featured a lot of stories about Hunter Biden. We know the FBI has possession of it, and that they believe it is his laptop, that the contents of it
finally, new rule. Now that polls show that the public finds the news media less trustworthy than Donald Trump, they have to fight to get their reputation back. And there are encouraging signs that that fight has been joined. The New York Times no longer shies away from saying Trump lies on the front page.
About the fake news, the ratings decline has been epic, and they've been pushing the same narratives. They don't seem to have learned any lessons from the last election. Your thought?
Well, we've been seeing their viewership decline for the last few years. If they can't say anything bad about Trump for the people with Trump derangement syndrome to watch, then they have nothing to report. They're not doing actual investigative journalism.
Would be better off if we had the old version of CNN and the more original version of MSNBC. It's fine. We are where we are, and that's fine too. Like, I like the fact that we're all getting more honest. Like, Fox is what it is, but now CNN's pretty open about being left-leaning, and people see it with their eyes.
That's not what I heard from Mark just now.
He's not going to say it, but who's the conservative host in the CNN primetime? Like, anyone? Like, Scott Jennings, one panelist, doesn't make your network
And you don't buy
down
me,
the
they can
middle.
just
Think about the fact that Kamala doesn't talk to the press. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. But she's kind of saying I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump did. I mean, I covered him in the White House.
But I want to recognize that for all the flaws of the mainstream media, and we have a lot of them, it's not just the media's fault that trust has been declining for decades. It's also decades of attacks by politicians.
That is the main issue, is that, it could be that the Washington Post is endorsing candidates, or it could be that there are millions of voters who believe lying politicians who tell them lies. No